and welcome to episode number 5 of the Leak Season 10. It is so great to be back here again for another week. My name is Maddy Weeks and I will be your host for tonight. Now, like most countries, Australia bloody loves a good national myth or two. And I don't mean like the time Farlap set the first land speed record, or when Don Bradman hit a 6 so hard that it went up into space and became the first satellite launched into orbit by Australia. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the big cultural identity shaping myths, like mateship, the deep, special, abiding love between two white, straight, cis men. Or the little Aussie battler, the white, straight, cis, working class, trying to get to middle class man who would totally get there if it wasn't for those bloody dole bludgers and migrants taking his beer money and his sexual potency. Or, in this case, the great Australian dream. The ideal of owning a single-storey house on a quarter-acre block, preferably a straight white cis-het one. And apartments don't count. They're just a little bit too exciting for a simple Aussie dream, I guess. The Great Australian Dream was coined in the period of Reconstruction following World War II. It was a time when banking was tightly regulated, property investment was penalised to encourage owner occupancy, and the average house cost 3 times the average yearly male income. Housing prices stayed close to wages growth through to the 1970s. And during this time, buying a house became the norm compared to renting. Hard to believe. It's probably why if you're over 25 and you tell your parents that you're still renting, they rip their clothes off and wail and cry like you've wasted your life and you're wasting all your money. Oh, such a weird generation that. By the 1980s, deregulation fever was sweeping the world, and soon the rules that penalised property investors were swept away in a binge of easy credit, tab cola and whiz-fizz. Now real estate was promoted as a secure form of passive income for mum and dad investors. And it certainly was if you already owned property, as housing prices skyrocketed in the 90s, fueled by negative gearing. I don't actually know what negative gearing is. I just know that it helps you make a lot of money on property and boomers bloody love it. So what's the upshot of all this mumbo jumbo? Basically, that housing prices have risen 550% since the early 1990s, according to ABC's Four Corners. Average wages, on the other hand, have remained stagnant. Probably spooked off by how much a deposit costs, unless you have rich parents. Liberal MP Jason Falinski, chair of a parliamentary inquiry on this issue, has called housing unaffordability a moral failure and intergenerational theft. Man, you know things have gotten bloody bad when a Liberal MP is calling out failures in the free market. Oh, it is a massive, complex, intergenerational problem, and one that's going to affect the stability and well-being of pretty much the entire nation. But don't look at me for a solution. I'm just a community TV host. Like, I'm renting, and I'm probably gonna be renting forever. I need to watch some comfort TV. Come on. Oh, Best of the Blocks on. Shh. What is the Australian dream? And how can we ever accomplish it? I'm joined by Elizabeth Maggie, an investment analyst who's going to share with us some tips on building financial security. Elizabeth, thank you so much for joining us here on The Leak.
Thanks for having me.
Now, can you tell us, what is the Australian dream?
The dream in life, and not just in Australia, is to get ahead.
Okay, and how do we do that?
The first thing you need is a regular paycheck. You need to have that money to go like clockwork.
Okay, so we have our money laid out in front of us. What comes next?
We have to accept that life can be a roll of the dice. There's always the chance that we could be hit by unforeseen circumstances. Then there's things like tax. We need to be able to squirrel away as much money as we can.
But what do we do with this money? Do we put it in a bank?
A bank's purpose is to give us money. Investment is the key. Property.
Land?
Exactly. Depending on your capital, you might look for something inexpensive.
Okay, and what do we do with this land once we've got it?
Don't stop at one block. Get 2, get 3, get a set. If you see an opportunity and someone has your block you need, make them an offer. Do a deal with them and you'll find that you're in a much stronger position.
A stronger position to do what?
To begin building. Build a house, that's the start. And that becomes a nice passive income no matter what happens to you. You could go to jail, for example, and lose your regular income.
Okay, but how far will owning one house get us?
Depends where you own it, but the goal isn't just to buy one house, it's to buy another, and another, and another. And to be honest, if you're in this position, you need to start to think about hotels.
Oh, okay, that's entrepreneurial.
Because that's part of the strategy. You might even diversify into the railroads. Railroads have long been a building block for tycoons. Or given that we're living in the age of privatization, a utility would also be a welcome choice.
And these all become steady earners?
For a while.
Okay, and at what point do we have enough?
Never. The key is to own so much property that you bankrupt the people inside it and you take their assets.
Okay, that doesn't sound like much of a dream for them.
Life is all about winning.
Okay, yeah, ruthlessly it seems.
Look, do you want to rely on the community having some chest that mirrors out your fortunes? Sure, every now and then you might get a free wad of cash coming from free parking. But you make your own luck.
Free parking? Hey, are you talking about Monopoly?
I'm talking about life. Life is a monopoly on what you own, who you crush, and the joy, the absolute joy that you get out of doing that. That's how you get ahead. That's the dream.
Okay, Elizabeth, thanks for joining us. Provided my landlord doesn't waltz on in and decide she wants the house back, the leak will be right back after this short ad break.
Sick and tired of being knocked back from your much needed loan by the big banks? Here at Lensshark, we're here to help. At Lensshark, we're different. We pride ourselves on our personalised service. To us, you're not just a number, you're a friend.
Yeah, until we've got you on the hook, and then...
Okay, Lensshark offers personalised finances for your next savvy investment. Thinking about getting a jet ski? Lensshark it. Need a new car? Show off to your mates? Lensshark it. Got a hot tip on that next Greyhound race? Lensshark it. And if you can't make your repayments on time,
then you sleep with the fishes.
He's just joking. If you can't make your repayments on time, we'll set up a personalised payment plan just for you. So, if you want it, if you need it, don't wait. Lensshark it! How's that? Good? Yeah. Hey, so I've got like 60 credit cards at the moment. I'm in a bit of a pickle. Reckon you could like hook me up with a loan on the way out? Yeah. Oh, nice, nice.
It has been a bloody annoying couple of years, what with the grand final happening away from the MCG 2 seasons in a row, Faith No More's Australian tour being delayed twice, and the ever-present threat of a horrible suffocating death on a ventilator. Whew, and now summer is coming, and there's no guarantee that there'll be anyone at the resort hotel desk to hear you whinge about the prices of the minibar. Why is that, you ask? Well, because on top of everything else, Australia is in the grip of a severe labour shortage. And no, I'm not referring to how the federal ALP have only held power for 9 of the last 25 years. But you know, while I'm here, like the great Australian dream, its way too friendly older brother, the There Go, is a classic from the book of Aussie myths and legends. Unlike the great Australian dream, the meaning of the fair go is a lot more nebulous, often meaning whatever the person using it wants it to mean, which makes it the perfect catchphrase for politicians. It's important to keep the fair go in mind when thinking of the current labour shortage, because the harder you look at the sectors where workers are hard to find, the faster the fair go evaporates like the contents of your dad's 30-year-old Old Spice bottle. Tourism and hospitality lost some 300,000 workers during COVID. 2/3 of this number are believed to have come from our once voluptuous pool of international students. Now why would that be? That other third? Holiday visa holders. Now what happened there again? I don't know. It seems like the fair go did not apply to international students or backpackers. Kind of like how the fair go seemingly didn't apply to higher education or the arts and entertainment sector during JobKeeper. I don't know. Just even before COVID, we weren't exactly making it easy for non-citizens to work here. What with the strict limits on the number of hours that international students could work while they were studying, or taxing backpackers at a higher rate than citizens doing the same work. I mean, it's not like we've spent decades stigmatising certain kinds of labour, is it? Treating customer-facing jobs in retail, hospitality and tourism like second-rate jobs only worthy of already exploited international students, travellers who can only work a few months maximum, and oh yeah, high schoolers. It's also not like there's been exposure of chronic wage theft in many of these sectors. Or gross exploitation of foreign workers whose visa status is threatened by malicious employers. Even abuse of backpackers doing all that much needed fruit picking and farm work. Maybe, just maybe, instead of telling guests in our country to rack off at the start of the pandemic, we could have maybe supported them instead, like a liberal government caring for a poor, wounded mining magnate. Yeah, well, earlier this month, British waitress Catherine Addy successfully challenged Australia's 15% flat tax rate on the earnings of foreign nationals between the ages of 18 and 31 working over here. Dubbed the backpacker tax, the rate, without the tax-free threshold offered to us citizens, wasn't even popular with the sectors it was somehow meant to benefit. I mean, when even rich landowners don't think it's a fair go, is it even a fair go anymore? Recently, the government announced the temporary easing of restrictions on the number of hours that student visa holders could work. It's limited to employment in agriculture, tourism and hospitality, aged care and NDIS providers, but it's a start. With a little luck and a lot of political pressure, these couple of asterisks could disappear for good from the fair go. Struth! To further explore this, we're going to cross to our correspondent, Melita. Over to you, Melita.
Welcome to This Just In, where tonight we catch a shonky real estate agent showing a flat in appalling condition to a potential renter, who captured this secret footage for us. With me is real estate agent and spokesperson for libertarian think tank Industry Finance Usury, Mileta Napartment. Mileta, thanks for joining us.
Oh, it's great to be here on behalf of IFU.
Some pretty shocking footage there.
How so?
Seriously? Tarps spread over furniture, a bucket set out to catch what are obviously regular leaks, judging by the ceiling's rain damage.
I like to think of it as natural indoor-outdoor flow.
Plastic sheeting over the bed for heat insulation, and to filter what I'm told is palpable grit blown onto the bed from the window.
Well, you can't say it isn't well ventilated.
Exposed gas pipes, electrical wiring stapled to walls.
Hey, I have clients who have spent thousands for that kind of postmodern neo-industrial interior design. Frankly, this is exactly the kind of entitled carping I expect from millennials. Here we have a funky flat with 3 bedrooms.
I take it you're counting the futon in the thoroughfare.
And 2 bathrooms.
The toilet in the laundry.
Right at the hub of vibrant inner city living, judging by that view.
You mean the bus station and the row of defunct shops?
Hey, when all's said and done, a good location, it doesn't really matter what the property itself is like. And upkeep, forget about it, darling. If you want a roof that keeps the rain out, well, you should have thought of that before you went and got yourself born to poor parents, shouldn't you?
So you wouldn't live there yourself, then?
Are you kidding? You'd have to pay me.
Miletta, thanks for your time.
Wait, I want to change that last answer.
Oh, well, provided that I've still got a job, the leak will be back right after this ad break.
Made some mistakes. Transferred some cash to your mates with reference words like booze, bomb, methamphetamines. Shockingly, these are all red flags at the big bank, but not here at Lensshark. Make your next mistake with Lensshark. Just like I did, we offer cash loans in your pocket within the hour. Lensshark is your mate with a friendly, competitive interest rate of 35%? 40%? 50%? That's right. With a competitive repayment rate of 50%, you'll feel like you're buying everything half price. It didn't even make sense. Who's writing this shit?
Just go with it.
So, need a holiday? Lensshark it. Need a new gaming console? Lensshark it. Want to get something nice for your loved ones? Lensshark it. Need to pay off the loan you took out from Lensshark because you already spent it at the casino and you need another loan, and it's an endless cycle of horror. Lensshark it. And if you don't pay them back, they'll come after your loved ones. And if that's not enough, they'll make you do their ads for them.
All jokes aside, I think that it's time that we put forward some facts. According to an Australian Bureau of Statistics report released in June of this year, a quarter of businesses have been unable to find staff due to a lack of applicants. Specifically, the hospitality industries have been the hardest hit. Since that report was released in June, it's clear to see that these issues of being unable to find staff have grown due to the fact that states, particularly Victoria and New South Wales, are coming out of lockdown. And of course they need all their hospitality staff back. Now, why do you think workers aren't willing to jump back into these hospitality jobs? Just by doing the smallest amount of research, I found out that the workers' unwillingness to work in hospitality makes complete sense. The workers' unwillingness to return to work in hospitality comes down to unsafe workplaces. Hospitality workers, as many workers have been doing throughout the pandemic, are all on the front lines, exposed to both vaccinated and unvaccinated patrons, which causes concern about unsafe workplaces. There is also the issue of increased demands on workers to deal with disgruntled, unvaccinated patrons who are prevented from accessing venues. It's unrealistic to expect workers to deal with these angry, disgruntled, unvaccinated patrons, abusing them, trying to get into the venue, especially when that's not anywhere in their job description. Firstly, We think it's only fair that workers get given a choice of whether or not to deal with unvaccinated patrons. Again, most job descriptions don't include screening patrons for vaccination status when patrons enter the venue. Secondly, if workers do agree to screen patrons for vaccination status, they need to be given adequate training to do that job. Surprisingly, even though screening patrons for vaccination status is now a requirement for venues, it is not yet a requirement for venues to give workers adequate training to handle that job, which in the current climate is critical. COVID-19 aside, there are other important issues with the hospitality industry. Things such as pay, hours, and general working conditions seem to be such important issues plaguing the hospitality industry. Between COVID-19 concerns and the issues with the hospitality industry, it's really clear that long-suffering workers have had enough, and that's fair enough. Hence why we've now got a mass resignation in the hospitality industry on our hands. It's fair enough. Now, we've used the hospitality industry as an example, but these concerns are commonplace across so many industries in Australia, pretty much all of them. We've got a unique opportunity to shine a spotlight on the struggles that workers face. Now is the time that we can charter change, real change. It seems like sometimes the worker gets forgotten. So more than ever, we need to support our unions who uphold workers' rights. So, whatever industry you work in, support your union and maybe, just maybe, we can get back to normal. That does us for tonight, but I hope you enjoyed tonight's episode of The Leak. I hope you watched it from the comfort of your own home, and I hope that come the morning you have a job to go to. Let's work together and strive again to make Australia a country of hopefulness instead of hopelessness. It's been a rough couple of years and we need to look after each other. This is Maddy Weeks signing off. Thank you so much for watching and I hope you have a lovely night. See ya!